Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the April-May edition of What's Happening in Avni. Just a quick overview of agenda, what we are going to do in this next 1 hour. First, for anyone who's new to Avni, we'll do a very short intro. We'll give a very short introduction to Avni. Next, we will demonstrate new features in that we developed in the month of April. Vinod will take us through that. Then next, Vinay from Avni team will take us through what's coming up in May, both in projects as well as in on the platform side. Next, there have been quite 2 to 3 field visits that we've done in the month of April. So Utkarsh, Sachin and Vinay from Avni team will be sharing some interesting experiences from the field visit. And next we have the SNCU team talking with us and sharing their experience of now they have been using Avni for about 1 year. So they'll be sharing the experience with us, how they're finding it. So let me quickly introduce about Avni. So Avni is an open source software as a service platform that provides drag and drop style MIS builder for anyone who has some very basic technical capabilities, can use user interface, can design an MIS by themselves. Using various extension points, you can extend the capabilities. Once the MIS is set up, you can collect data using Android application or web-based browser. You can set up insights for the field users. You can set up dashboards that field users can see and use. There are integrations in the hosted service with analytics platform like Metabase and Jasper. And there are well-documented APIs for anyone who's looking to integrate with any third-party system. And also there are options for bulk upload and bulk download. What are the different applications where Avni can be used? So first and foremost, the primary use case of Avni is for case management or longitudinal tracking of data, beneficiaries or clients, whatever you may call it. Then there are Avni can be used for one-off surveys like baseline survey, endline survey, those kind of survey, needs assessment surveys, etc. And in projects where cohort-based research studies are done, there also again case management or longitudinal tracking is required, and Avni is quite useful over there. So far, Avni has been used in variety of domains. Health has been one of the major domains where roughly about 70% of the projects have been done. Then there are projects in social security, sanitation, rejuvenating water bodies. And these projects have been now using Avni for multiple years, year on year. And in some of the projects, in fact, they are scaling from using it at one state level to multi-state to a national scale. Just to give you a brief idea of the reach and impact, so far we've been able to like deploy Avni for roughly about 30 projects who've been using. In some of the cases, in fact, organizations where Samanvay has not been involved, organizations have deployed by themselves. Then it has touched roughly 1 million beneficiaries and used by more than 3,000 users. I think now I will hand it over to Vinod for taking us through the new features that have been developed in April and demonstrating them. So let's look at that. Over to you.
Thanks, Arjun.
I'll make you the...
Arjun, can you give me the sharing access? I'm not able to share.
Yeah, can you check now? You should be able to now.
Yeah, thanks. So, good afternoon, everyone. So So yeah, so these are the three features that we'll be covering in this webinar. And we'll talk about one by one about them. So the first one is some dashboard UI changes that we have done. So there are like two changes that we have done. The first one is merging of general and profile tab in case there is no program configured. There won't be any tabs in the dashboard, and all the general encounter information will get displayed in the profile tab, profile screen only. And the second change is if there are any single encounter and programs, then the user can directly tap that name and do the visit or enroll in that program. So you don't have to select it from the list. Okay, so there is a demo organization that is set up. Why am I? Okay, so there are two subject types basically, and if we see, we have program only for one of the subject type, which is person. There are different encounters. So for the household, we have just the household survey encounter. There is no program for the household subject type. And then for the person, we have one general encounter, and then there is one training follow-up for the training program. Okay, so we'll see how the UI looks now. So I'll go to my home. First, we'll see the regular dashboard that we get. Okay, so this is the regular dashboard, right? You get the profile, program, and general tabs here, and you see all the programs. You can enroll it from here. So you see one difference here, because there is only one program, so you directly get the option to enroll in that program. You don't have to select it from the list. You can press it and you can enroll it. So right now this is just an empty form. And it gets enrolled in that program. Also, there is just one encounter type which is tied to this program, so you can directly do that encounter from here. Right, and similarly in the general tab, there is only one general visit which is configured for this subject type. So that can also be done directly by clicking this button. Okay, so this is one of the change. The second change that I was talking about, the merging of the tabs, is you can see it in the household because this doesn't have any programs configured. So if I go to my household that I have registered, so here you see that all the general encounter information is displayed in the same screen. There are no tabs here now, and like all the information is clubbed here only. So you get to see the subject details here. Then there are members, visits, plan, completed encounters, and you can also do the household survey from here. So yeah, so functionality wise, no change, but yeah, so there are some UI changes that we have done. Okay.
Yeah,
so
just to add on to what Vinod has said, the motivation for doing this, maybe someone who's new to Avni might not appreciate what's being shown over here, but probably the users who have been using Avni, and especially where no programs have been configured, they might appreciate that this makes the app comparatively simpler. The tab switching that was required and the number of clicks, it reduces basically that. So this is an attempt in that direction, and this has been actually based on the feedback from the ground. Yeah, Vinod.
Thanks, Arjun. So yeah, so this was about the first feature. We have the second one is the CSV upload changes. So there are a couple of changes that we have done in the CSV upload. I think the one of the most important change that we have done is we have enabled the validations, the data validations on the CSV upload. So you will experience the same thing as you do the data entry from the web or from the mobile. So all kind of validations, if there are any rules that are running on the form element, so all those kind of things will work on the CSV upload as well. So all the visit scheduling and everything will work. The second feature is about the auto approve button that will get displayed like when doing the CSV upload. So suppose if there is any form for which the approval workflow is enabled, then admins can upload the record and they can auto approve it in the single click. Otherwise, they will have to upload it, and then it goes to the pending state, and then they have to approve it one by one. So we'll see both of these now. Okay, so before this, we'll be uploading the person data. So I'll just go through the form once. So there are like two fields only. There is a phone number and there is Aadhaar card number. Phone number is mandatory field, right? And there are other validations also in the phone number. So you see that it's a 10-digit number, and similarly Aadhaar card is a 12-digit number. So like there are some regex validation that we have put so that the data is correct when the user is filling it. So these validations works well while doing the entry from the mobile and the DEA. Now we'll see that same thing can also be achieved from the data upload. So I have already downloaded the sample files. So the usual workflow is you download the sample file where you get all the headers, like whatever is configured in the form. So I've already downloaded and I filled some sample details also. So if you see here, I'm registering demo 2, right? And I have not filled any mobile number and Aadhaar card number. Okay, so let's do one thing. Aadhaar card number, I'll just fill some random data. So like this is not a valid Aadhaar card number. So this validation should also fail, right? And this CSV upload should fail basically, and it should give me the error. So I'll go to person registration, and you see that because approval workflow is enabled in this, so I can directly say approve automatically. So this record will get approved automatically, and the admins or the supervisors don't have to approve it from the app. Okay, so I'll upload it. Okay, and I get the error. So let's see what the error says. Okay, open it, and it says that column phone number, the empty value is not allowed. So that's one error message that we get. And also there is a second error for the column Aadhaar card number, which says that it is not a valid Aadhaar number. I think there is a spelling mistake, but yeah. So let's fix the data. Okay, so let's first give the 10-digit number here. Okay, and here also I'll fix this one, and I'll give it 12-digit. Okay, let's save it and load it. Okay, great. So it gets uploaded. Okay, so one thing I forgot to show you was there was also a visit that was configured on this registration. So you see that we are scheduling one general visit, okay, on the registration date. Okay, so this should, so we'll see that how the data has uploaded. So we have uploaded this person, which is called demo 2, right? So we'll go to demo 2. So this already shows up here, and if I see the profile, so my information is correct here. And if you go here general and you go to the planned visits, then the visits also get scheduled. Okay, so like it is very similar to the workflow is very similar to how you do the data entry from the data entry or the mobile app. Okay, so yeah, so like this is about the CSV upload. Now the next thing is about the Avni ETL. So yeah, so this Avni ETL is basically one new service that we have added to Avni platform, and the main reason for this is to make the analytics more easier and faster, make the reports to run faster in the Avni platform. So yeah, so like how it basically works is it creates the schema, the tables in each of the organization's schema, and the tables are then the data in those tables are synced from the main DB tables that is shared between all the organizations. So the sync happens at like 1 hour every day, every 1 hour the sync happens, and the data is saved to these schema tables. Okay, just to show you one like quick difference of how how the performance has changed is like, so there is this one simple report. This report uses the old views, the schema views, right? And so if I basically refresh this report, so you see that it is taking some time to load the data. Okay, and it's a very simple report. Okay, like there is, if you know the SQL, it's just a one group by that we have written, and now using the sorry, I'm not able to switch my tab. Okay. So yeah, so now this report basically uses the schema table. Okay, uh, so this, if I run this thing, so you will see that this is very fast. Okay, so it takes couple of seconds, but this returns in like milliseconds. And like slowly we are migrating all the reports which are slow. So it is right now the ETL is enabled for few of the organizations, and mm, and yeah, and like if you have any of the report which is like slow or which is giving the issues, do let us know. Like we'll try to migrate it so that you don't face any issues. Yeah, that's it from my side. And let me hand over to Vinay.
Yeah, thanks, Vinod. Yeah, over to you, Vinay, for giving us updates on what's coming up in May, both on the projects as well as platform.
Sure, thanks, Arjun. So what's coming up in May? So there are a bunch of new modules that we are adding for the JSSCP. So in case there is any, in case of any single encounter or program display, it directly shows on the dashboard screen. And the second one is, so this one is like Goonj. So Goonj has recently onboarded onto the Avni platform, and the important thing about Goonj is that there's basically an integration between Goonj, and it has its own technical infrastructure, and we have our own technical infrastructure. So there is some kind of a glue that needs to happen for data to happen get transferred between these two systems. So the first time in Avni that we are actually creating tenant specific or organization specific infrastructure. So this is something that will enable future organizations which are slightly bigger in size to be able to integrate well with Avni. So that's really important. The most exciting thing that we see about Goonj. The other, there are of course some minor features, encounter to encounter linking. We right now, if you have like a form, when you add a form, you'll be able to link it to any subject. That is something that's available today. What this feature will give you is the ability to link a form with another form. And right now we are trying to restrict it to forms within a subject, because we don't really have a way to search across encounters across say different subjects. But it's really interesting. Like for example, if you have like I mean, I can give of other scenarios where this might help is if you have a bunch of tests that you've ordered for a person and there is one result, you can always link that result to this one, the test to which it was performed. It allows us to do things like that. So in the future, there are quite a few other use cases that we can use that for. But yeah, we will be introducing this in Gunj over the next month. The third really interesting thing is about Lahi, Lend a Hand India. So Lend a Hand India is potentially going to start using the Avni platform for its volunteers who will be linking their students to potential places where they could get internship. And one of the important things in here is that the volunteers need to be the beneficiaries, and in this case, the beneficiaries are students. The students will need to be able to get some updates on their internships, or if there are any seminars happening in places that they need to attend. So this kind of gives them a way for communicating directly to beneficiaries. Now, beneficiaries communication is something that we've always dreamed of having in Avni for a long time. And we're really glad that this is happening because of one customer. And we typically add a feature only if somebody really needs it, because there's no point adding a feature where there are no customers to start with, right? So this is really like, this is also something that we are really excited about. This will most probably not get done in May. It will take a few months for this to happen, but it's definitely on our roadmap at this point.
Uh, Vinay, yeah, I'll add from the functional perspective on these projects. So GSSCP, Jan Swasthya Sahyog Community Health Project, over there we are, the project is already using, now it's into, I think, third year of using the system, where there is already maternal and child health and NCDs and Fulvari, all these modules that are already there, tuberculosis, all these modules are there. And now they will be capturing data for their for example, animals health project that they have, or self-help group that they are running. So they will be having monthly reporting via Avni app. Yeah, so that is what right now the extent additions that are being made to the existing project, existing customization for JSS, and we plan to finish that in the month of May. So that's how the project over there is growing. With Goonj and Lend a Hand India, what it also brings to us is our new domains. Goonj works in the area of distributing materials in the villages to incentivize activities being done there, and also like dignity of work, etc. So that's it's an interesting use case where we will be capturing demand, distribution, activities, and these kind of things that are happening on the ground via Avni application. And Lend a Hand again works with students and in the education space. So that is something that again we are excited about. At the same time, we are finishing or getting ready to go live with the Save the Children vaccination awareness program. The implementation is all completed, and now waiting for a go ahead from the team there, the field team there, to make it to for them to start using the application basically. And the work at even Sahas has consolidated and stabilized the app, is now being used actively over there, and we're just in the last stages of finishing the reports work for them. Yeah, over to you again, Vinay, for the platform features.
Sure. Yeah, so from a platform feature perspective, there are a bunch of other things that we're planning to add this month. One is the ability to add a profile picture. Now, this is really important in huge programs where it is possible that your field level worker does not necessarily know the person that they are meeting, and names might not be sufficient for you to actually figure out what it is. So this has been requested by one organization, and we're trying to build it. Let's see how it goes. So one of the things we've not been very enthusiastic in building the bringing the profile picture feature for a very long time, and the reasons for this are obvious. Like, you have like hundreds and thousands of photos that are on your device, and if somebody carries their own personal phone, it's not really a good idea to be capturing profile photos on that, because it will take up a lot of space. Now, in this particular case, they are being given cell phones by the organization, which is supposed to be used only for Avni. So this is something that they can potentially start using. So that's about the profile picture. I mean, the profile picture will act just like any other image upload that we keep happening. The uploads keep happening, and whenever somebody wants a picture, it will get downloaded and seen. And so that's about the profile picture feature. And this will happen by the end of May. We will have this on the platform. There are a bunch of improvements we would want to make on canned analytics, and going forward, we will keep trying to build canned analytics as something that can be available for everyone without having to do custom reports. That's a goal for us in the medium term. So we will keep continuing to work on the canned analytics. The help text is really a very small feature. So in case you want to have a form field and you have a question, but you probably don't like, you want to give some hints to the user as to how to fill it in, Like for example, you have to give a registration number and you have a specific format and you want to specify that format. Avni will now have the ability to start adding help text, which will show right below the title, and it will give more instructions to the user as to how to fill a particular field in. It's a very minor feature. Hopefully, it will be useful to anybody who's on the call or anyone who's planning to implement Avni. The fourth one is auto sync. Now, auto sync is something which has been available for about a year now, but it's not been really stable. There are some organizations which have switched it on, but again, we are when I say it's not stable, what I mean is it doesn't really run as regularly as we wanted to. It had issues with specific devices and things like that. Now we're fixing all of that, and in about a couple of days, the auto sync feature will go live. And what this means is that people would not have to go click on that sync button all the time. The data will automatically sync to the server. And this will happen whether you have the device on or the device off. It will happen even when you restart the phone, the auto sync job will keep running. And we've set it to 1 hour right now. Depending on whenever internet is available, it will start syncing. This obviously will go in a couple of days, the profile picture in a month, scanned analytics in pieces, but definitely some pieces will happen this month. And the help text is definitely going in this month. That's about it. Over to you, Arjun.
Yeah, thanks, Vinay. So next, I think we have interesting stories and experiences from the field. First, we have some team members from Avni, where development team, where they visited SEWA Rural in Jhagadia, Gujarat, and also JNPCT in Valsad, Gujarat. So we have Utkarsh and Sachin sharing their experiences about their visit next. Over to you, folks.
Good evening, everyone. So I will share my screen. Yeah. So in the month of April, we had a couple of field visits. Two of them were in South Gujarat. One of the organizations is SEWA Rural, and the other is JNPCT. So these are the organizations that I visited along with my colleague Sachin. So without wasting much time on introducing the organizations, I will just move on to the next slides. So SEWA Rural is basically located in the south of Gujarat in Jagadia block in Bharuch district, and a significant number of population that they work with is basically belonging to tribal community. And these are some of the key intervention areas. One is community health, another is adolescent care, and third is livelihood generation. And we also have Dr. Dhiren today from SEWA Rural, who will be giving more details and inputs on the program that they are running on the ground.
We have Shobha Ben also. Yeah, so I think if they want to add anything, of course, when they are speaking, they can add.
Sure. Yeah, that's great. So I will talk about two of the programs that SEWA Rural is running, and in both of the programs, Avni is right now used. So one of the programs is Sick Newborn Care Unit, SNCU in short. So it is basically a program where SEWA Rural has this hospital in the Jagadia town, and a lot of women who come there for seeking care for pregnancy. So around 30% of the deliveries that happen, so the children are either low birth weight or they are having some kind of illness, which puts them at a greater risk of developing severe illness or even mortality. So what is basically done in the program is that follow-up visits of these children are done once they are discharged from the hospital. So and that's basically what happens in the SNCU program, where basically only is used to track different indicators of, for example, malnutrition, specifically for the SNCU program. Here you can see one of the pictures where basically we were visiting a village, and these children we were basically the field supervisors were doing a follow-up visit with. Another program is on adolescent care. So basically adolescents in this block, what SEWA Rural does with them is they in different ashram schools, hostels as well as villages, they visit these adolescents, and they regularly monitor them for any kind of chronic sickness, as well as provide them regular counseling and awareness on sexual and reproductive health issues and menstrual hygiene. So you can see a field supervisor here who has actually taken a kit with her, which includes a kit to measure hemoglobin, as well as height, weight, all of these things are measured at that place. And once that is done, all those details are entered in the application, and whatever needs to happen based on those indicators, that is suggested by the app. So
Utkarsh,
whether,
one question. Is that a picture? Is that an adolescent in the picture or?
yes,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. The
yeah.
looks
So this
quite
basically,
young.
yeah, quite severely malnutrition.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that was the case with the child. So yeah, some of the observations that we had from the field visit at SEWA Rural was, so one thing is like for SNCU, what happens is that a lot of times these women will get in touch with field supervisors in times of crisis, like a child would have developed severe illness, or there is an emergency for which they need to be shifted to a hospital or any facility nearby which can provide that care and treatment. So till now, what was happening was that we already had the follow-up visit schedule, which tracked the different indicators on malnutrition and basically provide information to field supervisors on that. But in cases of emergency, what happens is that you have to track these illnesses separately. So for that, now we have become aware that we will need to create a separate flow for that in the application. And so this is a kind of thing that we usually uh, do not get while requirement gathering is happening, because unless and until you start working on the ground and using the app, some of the scenarios do not come into mind. So that's one thing. Then a lot of these locations, since they have poor network, what happens is that so the synchronization option that we have in the application, sometimes that doesn't work successfully. It's like you click on the sync button and the synchronization will only happen 50%. And due to network issues, it will just stop there. Now the field supervisors cannot stop their work. They will have to move to other locations. They might have to leave the village. And by the time they come back, it's possible that they might have forgotten whether the synchronization happened last time or not. So they will start doing the entry again, opening the app. And what that results in is that the data which was not synchronized earlier, that gets lost. So interacting with them, now we are also thinking of that at some time in future, maybe if we can have this option in application where the field users can themselves see by looking at the data that which fields have been successfully uploaded to the server and which fields have not, so that before entering data, they have that awareness and the data cannot get lost. And another observation that we had was that a lot of efforts in planning, coordination, and communicating within field supervisors gets reduced because the field visits are regularly getting scheduled in the application. They regularly get the notifications for them. So a lot of, because we also need to see that right now there are like 4 field supervisors who are covering around 500 to 600 villages. And if a lot of time just keeps going on in planning and coordination, then you cannot really take good care of the beneficiaries. So that's for SEWA Rural. Now I will move on to another organization, which is JNP City, Jashoda Narotam Public Charity Trust. This is also in south of Gujarat, again with tribal population. And yeah, so for them, the key intervention areas are maternal and child health, education, and agriculture. And where Avni is used to.
Because just a quick time check, you'll have to speed up a little bit so
Sure,
that there is
sure.
time for
Yeah.
next set of people.
So similarly, like SNCU over here also, there is identification of eligible couples, and then there is regular follow-up visits happening of pregnant women as well as the children up to age of 5. And over here, there are 3 different cadres of users. One is Arogya Saheli, above them is supervisor, and above them is cluster in charge. So over here, what we get to know is that so the Arogya Saheli module we only basically and rolled out in December last year. And many of these Arogya Sahelis have not used mobile phones before or even smartphones. So to know that they are now familiar with the app and they are able to use it without a lot of difficulty, that actually also helps us to know uh, how basically user friendly the design is of the application. And another interesting thing that we got to observe was something called kangaroo mother care, where basically any child who is having a low birth weight or severe illness, they need a constant skin to skin contact with mother. And this is something that women have to do around 4 to 5 times during the day for 1.5 hours. And we were really surprised to know that even family members of the household help in that practice and reducing the burden on women. And another thing, which is CAN analytics. So what CAN analytics do is that a lot of the information on how much of sync failure is happening on the ground due to network issues, or how many of the users are quite well aware with the application and able to do the work quite efficiently, is something that is available through CAN analytics. So that is something that is quite right now being useful at JNPCT. So yeah, I mean, this is for the field visits from Gujarat. Over to you, Vinay.
Hey, yeah. So I think a few weeks ago I visited one of the sites which runs the Rejuvenating Water Bodies project. I'll give a brief introduction about what the Rejuvenating Water Bodies project is. We did talk about this last month as well, and I will not take too much time with it. But this is like the picture of a lake, and this is it's big summer and it is really hot, and it's actually getting hot all across the country. And you would see that on the sides you have a lot of silt buildup, and this silt buildup essentially reduces the water carrying capacity, water retention capacity of this lake. And what this means is over time encroachments start happening and the lake essentially dies. To prevent this, we do need to desilt this. And of course, we need to have some place to take and put the silt. Luckily, this is a rural area and there are a lot of farms around, and silt is really good for crops. So the way this works is, in here, the Gram Panchayat, a local NGO, work together and see how many farmers are really interested in taking silt. The farmers essentially bring their own tractors and they take the silt out. There is, and the only thing left now is like an excavator or a JCB that's required to now take the silt and put it in their tractor. And these farmers, so the way it works is different across different places where this happens. But in this particular case, the farmer kind of contributes to the cost of the JCB in some sense, and there is a donor NGO who contributes a part of the JCB cost. And there are obviously some people who keep monitoring that desilting is really happening and the lake is desilted over time. The way it works is that the demand for silt is first figured out, and then people try to take as much silt as they planned for. The lake would not completely be desilted, but over the years it will start getting rejuvenated and getting better over time. And this is a project which has been running since 2019. It was part of when we started off, it was like a Maharashtra government project, as part of which we did about 2000, not us, but yeah, about 2000 different lakes were desilted within the state. And the next year, other states started coming in, Karnataka, um, Rajasthan, and right now a few other aspirational districts are also being picked up for desilting this year by the central government. So anyway, so the visits, the details of the visit is really specified in the blog, which I will post a chat message on. Essentially, it's like this here. What happened was a rejuvenation of this lake. There was like an inauguration. There was a puja being conducted, and there were site markings being done, and after that, the work really started. I will focus a bit more on the tidbits or learnings that I got from this project. One is that everybody really pitches in. So this is not a centralized project run by any one single entity, which essentially means that there are some people who are pitching it with funds. There are some who pitch in with people, and there are some who participate in the process. So it's like a perfect mix of the Samaj Bazaar Sarkar kind of a thing mixed, coming in together. So in some places the government pitches in with funds as well. In some cases, the society part, where the NGOs start pitching in with their own ways of managing the whole project and getting in people to come together and make every single lake rejuvenation a success. There's also this market bit where farmers actually find it useful to use that silt, and they benefit out of it, and the entire area also benefits out of higher retention and therefore percolation of water towards their places, which means more water for their crops. So that's one thing that really that I liked about this whole program. Over a period of time, I think the idea is that the whole thing would be self-sustaining at a local government level instead of being run as a central program. But again, that we'll take probably a few years to get there. The other learning I had was the advantages of structure. So it is true that we only need a few people to make this happen, but in this rejuvenating water bodies program, there is a central structure. There is somebody who does provide management um management capabilities, which essentially tells you how exactly to go about doing a program. So there are a bunch of NGOs who are focused on getting that and making sure that the donor NGOs and the farm and the local NGOs are actually meeting together and trying to get all the resources required to actually get to rejuvenate a water body. So that kind of a structure also helps. So it's like it has to be it cannot be centralized, it has to be decentralized, but at the same time there has to be some kind of a structure that kind of helps you uh, rejuvenate or desilt as many water bodies as possible. And that's a structure that I really liked. And as I told, right now I think this year the union government is planning to take this up at a national level. I think they're taking it slowly, about 6 districts this year, but that's like a start, which which is really a good thing. For more details, please go through the blog. I have a bunch of pictures there as well. So let me just go through the blog and show you the picture. So this is the picture of Kolar where I went. If you see the number of water bodies in here, it's really huge. Lots of small water bodies all over the place. This is the initial picture that I showed. This is the puja that was being conducted, and you can see the JCB and the tractors ready to start work right after the puja. It's the inauguration work. This is one of those water bodies that has been desilted and now actually can carry a lot of water. This was in a previously in like a state like in my previous picture, but yeah, over time it has been it has been maintained well. This is a picture of another lake that was being desilted. It's like a before and an after picture. Of course, the after picture is after the rain, so you would see a lot of water, which will not be seen here. But yeah, you get an idea of how the work really happens. This is like another picture. You see people, tractors moving around, but at the end, like once the desilting is over, it's like filled with water. This is again another lake, really. You can't see that it's actually a lake, but yeah, when there's a bunch of things that I learned over on the field. Like this kind of a plant really grows only near lakes, so you can actually figure out if it's a lake based on whether this plant is growing around it or not. And these kind of trees also grow in places like these. They kind of grow up when the water dries out. It just grows up and dies when water starts filling in. This is also like a weed. Yeah. That's all I had to talk about, really. If there are any questions, please do ask.
Thanks, Vinay. I am afraid we don't have time for questions right now. Let's finish up our next segment, and then I think we can, for folks who want to stay back, we can have a chai pe charcha at 5 p.m. We can continue afterwards the discussion and question and answers. So thanks a lot again, Vinay and Utkarsh, for sharing your experiences from your visits. Quite interesting. Next, I would request Dr. Dhiren. Do we have Jyotsna Ben? Dr. Dhiren, who all are there from your team who would be sharing your experiences on the SNCU project? Uh, can you please introduce? I
Sure.
just basically so we've been working now for so SEWA Rural has been one of the very original, I mean very like one of the initial users, I would say, of Avni platform. Initially it was for the adolescent program. We have Shobha Ben here, and then last year we started on the SNCU project. So Dr. Dhiren and team are here to share their experiences of using Avni on the SNCU project. Over to you, Dhiren.
थैंक यू अर्जुन, सबको नमस्ते। तो हमारे पास सेवा रूरल कम्युनिटी में काफ़ी सालों से काम कर रही है, 1982 से, और पिछले 15-20 साल के सभी चाइल्ड डेथ की हमारे पास वर्बल ऑटोप्सी थी। हम लोगों ने पाया कि जो बच्चे हमारे हॉस्पिटल के एनआईसीयू और एसएनसीयू में जो दाखिल होते हैं और डिस्चार्ज होकर घर जाते हैं, उसमें मोर्टालिटी ज़्यादा है, माल न्यूट्रिशन का प्रिवेलेंस भी उन्हीं बच्चों में ज़्यादा है, और इम्यूनाइजेशन कवरेज का भी थोड़ा बहुत इश्यू है। और वही बच्चे हैं जो प्रिवेंटेबल कॉज से डेथ होते थे, क्योंकि एनआईसीयू में तो काफ़ी अच्छी केयर मिली और फिर वो डिस्चार्ज हो गए, लेकिन फील्ड में इतनी अच्छी केयर नहीं मिली। तो फिर हम लोगों ने सोचा कि क्यों ना ऐसा एक प्रोजेक्ट बनाया जाए जो एसएनसीयू में जो जितने बेबी डिस्चार्ज होते हैं उसका फॉलोअप हम 5 साल तक करें, और वो भी गवर्नमेंट गाइडलाइन जो होम बेस्ड न्यूबॉर्न केयर है, होम बेस्ड चाइल्ड केयर है और IMNCI, तो ये तीनों कंपोनेंट को मिला के और हमारा जो अनुभव है उसको मिला के हम लोगों ने पहले 2 साल पेपर बेस पे काम किया, और फिर अवनी का एडोलेसेंट के अंदर एक अच्छा यूज हो रहा था ट्रैकिंग के लिए, एडोलेसेंट ट्रैकिंग के लिए। तो फिर हम लोगों ने भी उस अवनी प्लेटफॉर्म को ही हमारे ट्रैकिंग का जरिया बनाया, और क्योंकि उसमें हर साल बच्चे ऐड होते रहते हैं तो बेनिफिशियरी के नंबर भी बढ़ते रहते हैं, और हमारा जो मॉडल है वो हम सुपरवाइजर थ्रू उसको फॉलो अप करवाते हैं। तो ऑब्वियसली उनका भी शेड्यूल करना, कहाँ पे जाना है, यहाँ आज कौन से बच्चे की विजिट करनी है, उसमें भी काफ़ी टाइम जाता था। लेकिन अवनी प्लेटफॉर्म यूज़ करने के बाद उसमें काफ़ी इम्प्रूवमेंट हुआ है, उन लोगों को प्लान करने में भी काफ़ी आसानी हुई है। तो मैं इंट्रोड्यूस करूंगा राजेंद्र, जो हमारे फील्ड सुपरवाइजर है, जो हमारे साथ 2 साल से इस प्रोजेक्ट में जुड़े हुए हैं। तो राजेंद्र, आप अपना एक्सपीरियंस बताइए कि पहले काम करते थे और अभी जो आप एप्लीकेशन में काम करते हैं उसमें आपको क्या क्या बेनिफिट नजर आते हैं। राजेंद्र।
अगर पॉसिबल होगा तो अगर आप आपका वीडियो भी ऑन कर सकते हैं तो हमें मतलब अच्छा लगेगा, देखने मिलेगा। तो अगर पॉसिबल होगा तो, अगर नहीं है पॉसिबल तो दैट इज ओके। Thank you.
सबको नमस्कार। अभी हम अवनी यूज कर रहे हैं, अवनी एप्लीकेशन। उससे पहले हम मतलब हार्ड कॉपी यूज करते थे, पेज लेकर जाते थे, सब डिटेल भरते थे गांव में। तो उसमें बहुत दिक्कत रहती थी, क्योंकि वो सारा पेज कहीं बारिश में जाए तो भीग जाता था, और कहीं खो जाता था, कोई कागज टूट जाता था, तो डिटेल मतलब खो जाती थी। अभी क्या है, सिंपल सा मोबाइल निकाला, ऐप निकाला, डेटा मतलब सब पूछ के भर दिया, तो मतलब वो सिक्योर है। और पेज में कोई सिक्योरिटी नहीं है, कभी खो जाता है, कभी क्या कहाँ गिर जाता है, तो कोई बहुत बड़ी दिक्कत रहती थी। अभी अवनी यूज कर रहे हैं तो बहुत बड़ा ये फायदा हुआ कि मतलब सब डिटेल हमको मतलब वो स्टेप बाय स्टेप बता रहा है। और उसका जो बच्चा मतलब कोई भी उसको मोर्बिडिटी है तो हम सब डिटेल डालते हैं, तो उसका मतलब फॉलोअप कब करना है, कब इसकी विजिट करनी है, सब ऑटो बता देता है। पहले क्या होता था कि हम पूरा फॉर्म भरते थे फिर रख देते थे, उसके हिसाब से हर रोज जाके फॉर्म भरा रख दिया, हर रोज जाके फॉर्म भरा रख दिया, तो एक के बाद मतलब वो पूरा बंच हो जाता था। और उसको फिर अब विजिट कहाँ पे जानी है, फिर उसको पता नहीं चलता था। तो वो पूरा ढूंढना पड़ता था कि आज इस गांव में जाना है, तो ये मतलब ये हार्ड कॉपी निकालो। इसमें ये नहीं है, इसमें विजिट जनरेट ऑटो जनरेट हो जाती है, तो हमको पता चलता है कि अब इसको किसकी विजिट करनी है, आज किसकी विजिट करनी है, कल किसकी करनी है, ऐसा हो जाता है। और इसमें क्या है कि वेट डालते हैं हम, हाइट डालते हैं, सब डालते हैं, तो उसको ऑटो डिटेक्ट कर लेता है कि वो सेम में है, मैम में है या नॉर्मल है। तो इससे बहुत बड़ा फायदा होता है। इसमें वो कागज में बहुत दिक्कत रहती थी कि इतना वजन है तो वो सेम में होगा, मैम में होगा, याद नहीं रहता था। अभी याद रखने की जरूरत नहीं, सब ऐप बता देती है ऑटो। ये बहुत बहुत बड़ा फायदा है। फिर हम जब भी गांव में जाते हैं तो कहाँ पे मतलब ये अवनी ऑफलाइन भी होता है, तो ये फायदा है कि हम कहाँ जहाँ पे जाते हैं, कहाँ पे नेटवर्क कनेक्टिविटी का इश्यू होता है, तो फिर भी हम फॉर्म तो भर लेते हैं, क्योंकि वो ऑफलाइन भी सबमिट होता है। फिर हम नेटवर्क में आके सिंक कर देते हैं, तो पूरा डेटा सर्वर पे निकल जाता है। पहले हम वो पूरा फॉर्म भरते थे तो उसमें बहुत दिक्कत रहती थी, 6 महीने के बाद भरा या 7वें महीने के बाद भरा, तो 6 महीने का उसका क्या मतलब क्या है कंडीशन, और 7वें महीने में क्या है, 12वें महीने में क्या है, तो पता नहीं चलता था। पूरा पेज फिर से वो फाइल निकाल के देखना पड़ता था, उसमें बहुत टाइम जाता था। अब ऐसा नहीं करना पड़ता हमको। हमको सब मोबाइल निकाला, ऐप खोला, उसमें डैशबोर्ड खोल दिया, तो उसमें सब बता देता है कौन कितने बच्चे सीवियर है, कितने मैम में है, कितने नॉर्मल है, और कितने माइग्रेंट हुए, ये सब पूरा ऑटो बता देता है। इसलिए ये बहुत बड़ा फायदा हुआ है हमको। थैंक यू।
थैंक यू सो मच राजेंद्र। एक मतलब जो हम लोगों का मेजर जो ऑब्जेक्टिव था, तो एप्स मतलब कई बार एप्स यूज होते हैं इस तरह से कि डेटा एंट्री करो और फिर ताकि प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजमेंट टीम को रिपोर्ट्स और डैशबोर्ड देखने के लिए मिले। बट एक जो मेजर उद्देश्य लेके हम शुरुआत किए थे अपनी ऐप की, कि फील्ड वर्कर्स जो है, जो फ्रंट लाइन वर्कर्स है, जो काम कर रहे हैं जमीन पे, उनको कैसे मदद मिल सकती है अपनी ऐप की। तो ये जो आपका फीडबैक है और ये जिस तरह से यूज हो रहा है अवनी, ये हमारे लिए काफी मतलब सेटिस्फाइंग है कि हाँ, इस तरह से अवनी यूज हो रहा है, जो ना कि सिर्फ रिपोर्ट्स और डैशबोर्ड जनरेट होते हैं, बट एक्चुअल ग्राउंड पे काम करने में मदद हो रही है। आपका जो इतना सारा काम रहता है वो थोड़ा हल्का हो रहा है इसकी वजह से। तो थैंक्स अ लॉट फॉर शेयरिंग दिस। धीरेन, आपके टीम से कोई और है शेयर जो शेयर
मेरे
कर?
ख्याल से ज्योत्सना बहन बाहर है, फील्ड में गए हुए हैं, वो नहीं है, लगता नहीं है कि नहीं है।
अच्छा, ओके। डॉक्टर सचिन, आर यू देयर? हाँ, okay. So we have Dr. Sachin also from JNPCT. So Dr. Sachin, if you can share briefly your experience, or especially with the field visit, if that helped you in any manner, or which manner it helped you, especially because that's relevant. We've already talked about JNPCT project in detail in one of the previous webinars. Maybe I can check and post the link over here. But yeah, if you can share any recent experiences.
Right. तो इससे पहले भी जैसे आपने बताया कि हमने जेएनपीसीटी में अवनी ऐप कैसे यूज हो रहा है, कैसे उसका यूजफुल हो रहा है, सभी आरोग्य शैली है, सुपरवाइजर है, क्लस्टर इंचार्ज है और कोऑर्डिनेटर लेवल तक जैसे यूज हो रहा है, उसके बहुत सारे बेनिफिट्स हमने लिस्ट आउट किए थे और पहले भी हमने शेयर आउट किए। लेकिन अभी जैसे लास्ट मंथ में अवनी टीम से जो फील्ड विजिट हुई थी, उसमें से कैन रिपोर्ट का एक नया फीचर था जो हमको इससे पहले पता नहीं था कि अवनी ऐप का एक खुद का एक रिपोर्टिंग सिस्टम भी है बाय डिफॉल्ट, और वो हमको अभी बहुत अच्छे से यूज हो रहा है। जैसे कि कौन से यूजर्स 100% सिंक हो रहे हैं, कौन इनकम्प्लीट सिंक कर रहा है, कौन रेगुलरली सिंक कर रहा है, कौन से यूजर्स जो है वो डेटा इनकम्प्लीट फिलअप कर रहे हैं, कौन से एरिया में टॉप यूजर्स जो है कि वो विद इन ड्यू पीरियड अपनी विजिट्स एनकाउंटर कर रहे हैं। तो ये जो मॉनिटरिंग पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू है वो हमको अभी आज ही हमारी आरोग्यशाली मीटिंग चल रही थी, तो मैंने ये फीचर सबको बताया तो सबको एक हैरानी से रहेगी कि हम इतना काम कर रहे हैं तो इसमें से कितनी बार हमने सिंक फेल हुआ है, कितनी बार सिंक कंप्लीट हुआ है, कौन कौन से क्वेश्चंस हम मिस कर रहे हैं, कौन कौन से क्वेश्चंस कंप्लीटली फिल कर रहे हैं। तो उनको भी जान के एक अच्छा लगा कि हाँ इस बात में हम मिसिंग कर रहे हैं तो ये हमको सुधारना है। तो एक अच्छा हमारे लिए है और लास्ट विजिट में ये फीचर हमको बताया तो डेफिनेटली हमको बहुत ही यूजफुल हो रहा है अभी कैन रिपोर्ट्स का। जेस्पर तो है ही बहुत ही अच्छा रिपोर्टिंग सिस्टम है, लेकिन ये भी एक अच्छा रिपोर्टिंग सिस्टम हमारे लिए हो रहा है। थैंक यू अर्जुन।
थैंक्स अ लॉट डॉक्टर सचिन। आई वाज जस्ट पोस्टिंग द लिंक जो हमारी मतलब हमने जनवरी में वेबिनार किया था और उसमें आपने और डॉक्टर धीरेन ने और टीम ने डिटेल में मतलब केस स्टडी शेयर की थी जेएनपीसीटी। मैंने जस्ट वो उस वेबिनार का वीडियो रिकॉर्डिंग भी यहाँ पे शेयर किया है। बट हाँ ये दिस इज गुड टू नो कि ये कैंड एनालिटिक्स फीचर यूज हो रहा है और कंटिन्यूसली उसमें फीडबैक शेयर करते रहिए आप भी। और मतलब दिस इज अ रिक्वेस्ट टू ऑल द एग्जिस्टिंग यूजर्स because that is a feature that we want to build especially based on feedback, because we will need to know which indicators you are looking for and what will help you know your program better, both operational wise and also success indicators etc. So thanks a lot for sharing this.
अर्जुन, एक चीज मैं ऐड करना चाहता हूँ जेएनपीसीटी में, क्योंकि हम लोग भी थोड़ा उनको टेक्निकल इनपुट देते हैं। अभी मेरे ख्याल से अवनी से इंसेंटिव कैलकुलेशन का भी स्टार्ट होने लगा है, जो टास्क कंप्लीशन रेट है। और क्योंकि एक टास्क जनरेट होता है आरोग्य सहेली का, जो लॉजिक क्रिएट किया है बैकएंड पे, उसके हिसाब से उन्होंने कितना टास्क कंप्लीट किया और टास्क कंप्लीशन रेट के आधार पे उनका इंसेंटिव दिया जा रहा है अपार्ट फ्रॉम दी अदर इंसेंटिव्स। तो वो भी एक फीचर है जो अभी धीरे धीरे इसका इस्तेमाल करना चालू किया है। बीच में कुछ उसमें इश्यू थे लेकिन अभी वो परफेक्ट होने जा रहा है। तो इंसेंटिव कैलकुलेशन के लिए भी हम इसको यूज कर रहे हैं, तो एक एडिशनल फीचर जो है वो एक ये भी है।
Okay, great. That is yeah, I was not aware about that, so thanks a lot for sharing that. That's another interesting use case of using the field application and using Avni setup. So
हेलो। हाँ
thanks.
अर्जुन,
हाँ बोलिए।
अभी डॉक्टर धीरेन सर ने जो शेयर किया वो
हाँ।
सही है। अब तक अवनी टीसीआर रिपोर्ट का जो था हमारा वो थोड़ा सा नंबरिंग में इशू आ रहा था, लेकिन लास्ट विजिट के बाद वो इशू सॉर्ट आउट हो गया और इस मंथ से हमने जो पेमेंट का कैलकुलेशन का था तो बाय सिस्टम से ही जो टीसीआर निकला उसी से हिसाब से पेमेंट किया। और ये टीसीआर निकालने के लिए हमारे सुपरवाइजर स्टाफ का 3 वर्किंग डेज फील्ड में वेस्ट होता था, वो अभी विद इन मिनट सबका आ गया। तो थैंक्स टू दैट टीसीआर रिपोर्ट्स।
Okay, great. And one of the point that you mentioned, which we also recognize and is an area of improvement for us, जो reports होते हैं जब वो initial round of delivery होती हैं तो वो numbers matching, numbers checking, ये सब में मतलब दिक्कत होती है कि field पे number कुछ और दिख रहा है reality में। It's not an easy problem to solve, but yeah, with I appreciate everyone's पेशेंस जो एग्जिस्टिंग अभी यूजर्स है, क्योंकि कभी वो रिपोर्ट में लॉजिक में गड़बड़ होती है, कभी कहीं कुछ और चीजें होती हैं जिसकी वजह से वो नंबर्स ठीक से नहीं आ रहे हैं। So we are continuously learning from these experiences and working on improving how we develop that. Performance pe to Vinay already or Vinod already shared that we've been working a lot on improving the performance of the reports. So I hope this also helps. Yeah, we have hands raised from Chandan. So now this is open for comments and question and answer session, and we can get our tea. We can. I mean, this is now open. We can continue as long as we want. The main things that were there on the agenda are done. But yeah, Q&A. I hope people will be able to extend for at least 10 more minutes. Yeah, Chandan, please. आप चंदन अनम्यूट कर लो खुद को and then you can speak.
Sorry sir, good evening from Calcutta kids.
Good evening.
I am very proud about it because the whole model of Calcutta kids is using in Avni, the MyChi, the mother and child health programs, the module. So when we designed and started to design, then and now the response will come is very much because I listen the of all of your inputs and also the benefits of the Avni. So last few years in 2012, so we are using access, data access. But then from 2018, we shifted to Avni, and now because the last मुसीबत जो आया था जो कोविड का, अगर हम लोग सोच रहे थे अगर ये अवनी का ये ऐप अगर नहीं होते तो शायद 2 साल हमको ऑफिस बंद करना पड़ता है। तो ऑफिस तो पूरा बंद था, लेकिन हम लोग जो काम किए सारे डेटा और इतना सारे मेरा 15 जन हेल्थ वर्कर पूरा जैसा ही ऑफिस चालू होते हैं तो वर्किंग फ्रॉम होम ये पॉसिबल हुआ काम करना, ये आपकी वजह से। तो हम सबको धन्यवाद देंगे आपका टीम को। हाँ, हम जानते हैं बहुत टाइम बहुत थोड़ा प्रॉब्लम होता है, आप लोग काम भी करते हैं, ये आप बोले भी है, ये हम लोग मानते हैं, लेकिन ये अगर अवनी नहीं रहते तो शायद हम लोग का पूरा काम बंद रहता, सबका सैलरी बंद रहता और ये सबसे बड़ा हम लोग के ऊपर असर करता। जो असर हुआ क्योंकि ना हम लोग बिल्कुल काम नहीं बंद किए, सारे सैलरी पूरा स्टाफ का बंद नहीं किए, सारे बेनिफिशियरी का हम लोग फॉलो अप विजिट सारे सब कुछ किए, ऑनलाइन डॉक्टर चेकअप किए, उसको एंट्री किए, फॉलो अप भी किए, सारे प्रोग्राम पूरा शायद अपनी का ये किट की वजह से, ये ऐप की वजह से हम लोग उसको चालू रखे। सो थैंक यू द होल टीम एंड ऑल द यूजर्स that definitely they will also benefit like Calcutta kids. We thank you to all of them that we use Avni and hopefully and our contribution. So we are proud of our contribution and the efforts. And to all of
Chandan, this was very unexpected and great feedback आपसे। और हाँ, हम लोगों की continuously बातचीत होते रहती थी। I think for everyone's context, मतलब एक्चुअली डेटा एंट्री ऐप जो हमने बिल्ड किया था वो वन ऑफ द मेजर डिमांड वाज फ्रॉम कैलकाटा किड्स फॉर इट, बिकॉज कुछ यूजर ऑलरेडी 1 या 2 यूजर थे जो ऑफिस से डेटा एंट्री करते थे और वो लोग इम्यूलेटर यूज करते थे, पर कई बार वो मशीन की जो भी है प्रोसेसिंग पावर नहीं होने की वजह से या जो भी है चैलेंजेस आते थे। तो हम लोगों ने फिर डेटा एंट्री ऐप पे इसी की वजह से वन ऑफ द मेजर रीजंस व्हाई वी कंसेप्चुअलाइज्ड एंड डेटा डेवलपमेंट फॉर दैट, एंड देन फिर उसके बाद अचानक कोविड आ गया, तो मैं कंटिन्यूअसली फॉलो अप करता था कि क्या हो रहा है डेटा एंट्री ऐप में, और फिर हमारी ये सारी बातचीत होती थी वेयर मतलब चंदन बताते थे कि सारा फॉलो अप अभी मोबाइल ऐप वाले भी जो यूजर्स है वो भी रिमोटली सारा फॉलो अप कर रहे हैं फोन से, और लेकिन अवनी में पूरा रिकॉर्डिंग हो रहा है, तो ताकि पूरी टीम कैन ट्रैक कि क्या काम हो रहा है, कैसे हो रहा है और हेल्थ कैसी है कम्युनिटी में। सो थैंक यू सो मच।
तो हम थैंक यू बोलने के लिए सबको हम बोला थोड़ा रेंज कर, और नहीं बोलने से तो पता भी नहीं चलेगा तो कितना फायदा हुआ, तो ये फायदा की वजह से हम बोले, तो होल एंटर टीम को हम कॉन्ग्रेचुलेट किए और थैंक यू भी बोले, जो आपकी वजह से शायद हम लोग ये कंटिन्यू किए और अभी थोड़ा बहुत खोल रहा है। तो लेकिन उस टाइम जो पीरियड गया है हम लोग जो फेस किए वहाँ ये एकदम एक मासूम मतलब एंजल की तरफ काम किया अवनी का ये ऐप, तो थैंक यू टू ऑल ऑफ यू,
Thank you so much.
थैंक यू।
Does anyone have
अर्जुन
any
भाई,
questions or comments? Yeah, please.
अर्जुन भाई, ये कोविड की बात की इन्होंने, तो हमें भी एडोलसेंट के साथ कोविड के पीरियड में we could use this Avni app and do online work with them. So that was stressful.
Okay, okay, great. हाँ, हम लोग बीच बीच में थोड़ा देखते थे, फिर नंबर्स कहीं कहीं कुछ डिप होते थे, फिर वी ऑल्सो फेल्ट दैट कि मतलब किसी जगह पे शायद रिमोट फॉलो अप विल मेक सेंस, बट मे बी मोस्ट जगह पे शायद वो नहीं होगा। तो इट्स ग्रेट टू नो कि मतलब कई सारी जगहों पे काम कंटिन्यू रहा रिमोटली फॉलो अप, मे बी सब ऑप्टिमल, एंड देन मे बी लाइक स्टिल एंड Avni could play a small but important role over there to help track the work that is going on. So thanks Shobhaben वो feedback के लिए भी। कोई questions, any questions on any new features or any existing features that we've been working on, or any other comments from anyone? Okay, if there are no comments, please, I'll be sharing a feedback form after this call with all of you. Please share the feedback if there is any change in the structure or this thing. Every time it happens that we overshoot by 10 minutes, but I don't know, I mean, there are so many interesting things to discuss. Please share any feedback that you would have that will help us make this meaningful and useful to everyone. And thanks a lot, especially Dr. Dhiren, Rajendra, Shobhaben, Chandan for sharing the feedback and also taking time out for this. Yeah, have a nice evening everyone.
And Dr. Sachin, thank you also.
Dr. Sachin as well.
Thank you.
I missed,
Our
sorry.
meeting.
Thank you to all of you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, bye everybody.
Bye.